Yo, monkeys, it's me, DDP Diamond. You're listening to the Potsy and Tino show. And that's not a bad thing, monkey. A good thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children. Welcome to the Potsy and Tino show. He's Tino, I'm Potsy. Thank you to Adam's House Cat for our theme song called the Wrestling Song. I don't think you've ever popped me at the beginning of the show like that, man. Like like we might as well just be doing a Thanksgiving episode because we both sound like turkeys.
We'll do that at Thanksgiving. We'll save that for Thanksgiving episode.
You, the dumbass, you're the one that did it. I'm just sitting here like trying to have a good show. And anyways, so our theme song is always brought to you by Adam's House Cats, called the Wrestling Song. It's available on iTunes for 99 cents.
99.
Tino,
What bitch?
we always start the show with that segment. You know what it is. What's up with you?
So, I didn't have a show last weekend, but I did I went to see, in Cary, Nicole's friend had extra tickets, and so she invited us. We went to see Clue, the play. It's kind of cool. It was interesting, and it made me
Colonel Mustard in the conservatory.
Yeah, it made me want to be. I don't know, go back. So they have auditions.
Watch the old movie.
No, I wanted to audition because they have audition for plays around the area. So I missed it today, and damn it, I forgot. But they're doing a Christmas story I wanted to audition for. So there'll be other plays. I'm gonna try to get back into doing maybe some small theater because I did musicals and stuff like that theater in high school, and it was fun. And then watching that on stage, I'm like, I missed that shit. So I might go back and try to see if I can get in a couple of plays.
You know, it's funny you say that because like I would actually, hey, what's going on, Michael Turner? I would also like to be interested in that stuff. Yeah. I don't know if I'd want to do musicals.
Well, not musicals per se. I mean, it's just plays, period.
But I mean, I think I could do musicals. You know, like as long as I was, you know, a bit part or whatever. Although let's be real, if I'm just a bit part, like I'm not gonna do it. I gots to be Tino, you know. So for
I don't know what the fuck is happening. But and then the band's back together Saturday. We're at Abbey Road and Fuquay. So it was originally just going to be me and Wava, our guitarist, and then the drummer's like, "Hey, if you guys need me this weekend, you know what? So I'll call
why not come on out?"
Yeah, so we'll just do the whole band. We hadn't done the whole band in probably a few months.
So when's Matthew going to be one of the guitarists of that group?
He's never going to be. By the time he gets old enough, he'll be too old to rock anymore. I'll be done. I just have to pass it on to him.
So
he'll have the equipment. Here you go, son. You got all the equipment.
So you know, last week I went to go sing karaoke. I didn't go yesterday because I just didn't feel like it. Like I got off work late because I worked overtime and stuff, and I was like, I'm not going out to sing karaoke last night. But last week I did, and I sung with Chris Edge and his son, and he brought Christopher, his kid, out. First of all, let me just.
How old is his son?
Well, let me just say, I've known Christopher since he was like this big. Okay, Christopher's taller than me now.
Okay.
And he's like 17.
Okay.
And he doesn't remember me at all. You know? So of course I joke that, well, I'm Uncle Rob, you know, like you should remember me. Like, and he's like,
no. He's
like, you're not related to me. Like
that's hilarious.
You look nothing like, you know, like but I you know, Chris told me that him and his wife are hoping to have kids in the future. And I was like, well, I better be Uncle Rob to them.
Who's that I saw was pregnant? I thought it was Edge. It might not have been Edge.
I mean, are you friends with him on? So it might have been. I wasn't sure if I'm allowed to sit there and say on our show.
That was me doing Edge.
but so yes, they are expecting, and I was like, well, I damn well better be Uncle Rob for this one, and of course his wife is like, of course you are Uncle Rob, and I'm like, okay, good, that's, but they went out to sing karaoke, right, and it was just me, Chris, and Christopher, and I'd never heard Christopher sing before, and he went up and he was good, and apparently he plays guitar as well, so. Obviously, when you're doing karaoke, you don't play guitar, but apparently he plays guitar as well. And it's funny. I kept saying to him, I'm like, hey, there's some really good singers out here. Well, apparently there was also someone from the Raleigh Theater Company who's like one of like the top people looking for people for the Raleigh Theater that was there that night. So of course my friend Jesse. I think you've met Jesse, and you might have met Jesse and Ducky at this point. I don't know. She works at she works at Zenith now. But so she got told to bring her A game. So of course she goes up there and she sings a song, and Christopher's like, "Holy shit, what did I get myself into?" 17-year-old kid. What did I get myself into? And Chris is like. Rob, I know that you said that these people are good, but like, holy shit, dude. Like,
never been there either?
No, it was the first time. And he even messaged me yesterday and said, hey, are you thinking about going to karaoke? And I'm like, hey, if you want to go to karaoke, I'll go, but like, I'll be here late tonight. So, I mean, like, I'll just be driving right from work to karaoke instead of like going anywhere else or just relaxing for a couple hours and then going, whatever. But so Chris is like, Edge, for everyone that out there, Edge is like, so are we gonna sing our song? And I'm like,
song?
You've lost that love and feeling, from Top Gun, and I'm like, yeah, of course, man. I'm like, go ahead and put it in. He goes, oh, so I put it in as my song. I'm like, well, yeah, you're the one that wants to sing it. Like, I'm just gonna sing with you. You always take the lead on the song, so like if I was leading, well, and Edge is decent too. His son is good and he's decent, so and he's better than decent. I mean, like for karaoke, he's a good karaoke singer, but like we're talking about, like, for whatever reason, where I go to sing karaoke, folks, and Michael says, hi man, what's up? Where I go to sing karaoke, like for whatever reason, everybody seems to think it's like The Voice or American Idol.
I'll tell you a secret. I actually won karaoke for years. It's always been that. That used to aggravate the piss out of me. People would get all day. They would pick out outfits, and they would be like, I'm like,
do you remember when I was hanging out with that girl Joan, and she was like, hey, we won this one competition. Now we made it to like this regional thing. Now we're gonna have to dress up in costumes, and I'm like, I don't fucking do that. And she's like, oh, you're going to. So I borrowed like because we were singing Love Shack. So I borrowed like a hippie outfit from somebody to be able to do. And I'm like, I feel so fucking weird wearing this polyester outfit.
And my favorite is when people will do this shit. The fuck is this shit? It's karaoke. Ed McMahon's not gonna come out. This is Star Search where they're trying to hear themselves. I'm like,
what isn't that Secret Service?
No, that's people trying to hear themselves and they're thinking that somebody's gonna come out and you still suck. I used to.
We might as well give secrets of karaoke right now.
I used to fuck with people all the time. If you make me mad,
you would play with their levels while you were.
Well, that's one thing I do. Another thing I would do if they were really drunk, so they put in a
You put it in before them?
No. I would put the words to a song up, but have the music to another song. So if they want to sing Ice Ice Baby would be on the screen, but I'd have the Love Shack music playing over. Fuck with people. And yes, I used to fuck with their tongue because I could turn it up to make them sound like Alvin and Chipmunk, so I can make it drop and make them sound like Barry White.
So I'll tell you that's one of the things that Harry that runs karaoke out at Raleigh Beer Garden is really good at, is if he's sitting there actually standing at the thing, he can make sure that you sound decent. Like even if you're bad, like he'll at least make you sound like, all right, it's the first time, we can let them pass, you know, that kind of thing. But like he likes to leave and walk away from the machine, and when he does, if so, you know as well as I do, if you're singing karaoke and you're singing and you hear what sounds like the actual song, like coming out of you and it, you're good. If it sounds off at all, if your pacing's off, if anything, like you're done. Like
pacing off, the words fucking light up when you're supposed to say it.
Not always true. For whatever reason, there's some karaoke songs where it's just like half a beat behind or whatever, and good karaoke DJs will sit there and speed the pace up, you know, so all of a sudden you catch back up. And good karaoke singers, well, I won't even say good karaoke singers. I will say, well-versed karaoke singers will sing it as like they're waiting. They know that they're off, so they'll wait a second or whatever. So they'll actually stop and like, yeah, they'll skip that one little note or whatever, and then they'll just catch on. Or they'll skip a word because it's going too fast for them, and they'll catch up. That, you know, they figure out. You know, there's always stuff where like you read it and it tells you to say something, and you know that that's not the words. You sit there and you sing it the way that you're supposed to, or whatever. And but then you go to places where they don't do that. Like Steve Penny. Steve Penny's pretty drunk. Sing or whatever. So
that's what worked with Steve Penny.
I know, but you know what I'm talking about. Like he's always, yeah, man, and you know I'm right. I love him, dude. He's a Facebook friend of mine. He can watch this show if he wants. But like, if you get there 15 minutes before Steve's closing down, he ain't doing anything for you on that machine.
No, that is Steve. He just fucking like Ritalin, bitch, Ritalin.
Yeah, he's Adderall. He's not Ritalin.
And I love Steve Penny with all my heart.
Dude, he's awesome, and it's always fun. Like I'll be like, Steve, you fucking know me for 15 years. Like, can I get a song in? And he's like, I don't know, man. I'll see if I can do it. And then all of a sudden, like 3 seconds later, you're up.
Well, that's the person I want to. I just walk in there. I think about second out of the song. He's like, and next we have Tino. I'm like, fuck you, Steve Penny.
You say fuck you, Steve? Why would you say fuck you if he's giving you a song? Oh, because you didn't even put a song in, so you're not even wanting to sing. You're just showing up going, oh, fuck, Steve's here.
Fucking after a show about going to karaoke, I'm like, God bless. I don't want to sing anymore.
That's not always true.
I'm not telling. I don't want to sing anymore.
9 times out of 10, I would agree with you.
4 hours. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say you've been singing for. Like, you've been projecting your voice for 4 hours. It's not always singing. Like that time you had the hiccups. This motherfucker is the first motherfucker I've ever seen who goes to say. Now we've even seen like JR sit there and talk in wrestling terms, and when they go, how come no one ever farts or shits themselves in the ring? You know, well, we know we know that Jim's actually said that's why he wears black pants is because if he's there for 5 hours and he can't get up to go to the bathroom, he is pissed or shit himself at some points. But you know, like the one thing you never see is when they're given a promo or anything else, they never have the hiccups. Ever. It's amazing. Like it has never happened to my understanding. Yeah. But this guy, one time, I go to see him at that little house place out like Clayton or something.
I don't know what the fuck happened.
And he got the hiccups, and he was trying to, and I couldn't stop laughing. Not like blah, 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 or when you took the shit, but it was probably the first time that I could not stop laughing. And
that's the first and only time I've ever had the hiccups while I'm singing.
Yeah, I bet. And just as he thought they were gone, and he's like, oh, thank God. And he's like, all right, folks, we're going to start back up. He immediately had the hiccups again.
Now, I've burped in the middle of the song. I've done that, but I've never had the hiccups.
Well, yeah, the burping thing is just because it's like, there it is, you know, like whatever. And you think it's a hiccup, but it's not. It's a burp or whatever. But yeah, it's.
I remember one time I was singing, and I'd been drinking Coke or something.
Chris Barrett said, "Hell yeah, my freaks."
You're gonna like Coke or Pepsi or something with carbon. And I was singing. I thought you could get away with one of those.
But nope.
No.
Was it like a burp?
And the fucking microphone.
It's a good thing you don't have one of those head mics, you know.
So,
oh god.
Then there was times I remember, especially I was notorious for doing it at
notorious
for doing it. It's not Arnie's anymore, but when it was Arnie's, Brayley's, but back when it was Arnie's and No, they would have the karaoke contest every Thursday.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So I'd be chilling at home, and I'm like, I'm running low on funds. I was a karaoke. I was a hustler. I'd go in there, sing a song, win, and then just roll out.
Well, they'd make you sing a song after you won,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the only way you get the money is you'd have to sing another song. But I mean, like I don't even remember how many times. Like I won 4 or 5 times. You won.
I would go in there, and then they got
but they
would not be doing it anymore.
But they had a rule, and it was a great rule. If you won with a song, you couldn't win with that song again,
and you couldn't win the next week. So I just wait a few weeks and go back and win again.
Yeah, and that was back when I was first actually getting to know Tino and our friend Bill, who knew Kurt Angle and Kurt Angle's wife, because they were all from Pittsburgh. But you know, like we'd all go up there, we'd all sing karaoke, and we'd all talk pro wrestling, like, and it was like I don't even remember how you and I sat down, like I know.
Well, they used to show it at Barney's.
Well, that's because I would go in there and I helped fix the place up. Me, Fubar.
I didn't know. I just knew I could go there on Monday nights or whatever and see either,
because there was nothing else on for most of the year. Yeah, it was crazy. So we would literally walk in there, but it's because when Arnie bought the place, his dad was like, "You got to fix the place up," and Fubar was 19 years old at the time, and I'm like 22, whatever. And we knew Arnie because we went in there actually we used to go to Ruby Tuesdays, and I think we met
Lee and Tish there.
Well, we met Lee and Tish there, but I think we met Arnie there. And all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, I own a bar. You guys should come out." So we go over to the bar and we would start drinking. And by the way that I got Fubar into drinking initially, Fubar I don't think he'd ever had a drink. Now he can't get in the stop worse than me. But I would take him in to the Ruby Tuesdays, and the first couple times we go, I just put my drink in front of him, and the waitress or bartender would be like, "Do you want another one?" And he'd be like, "Yeah." And they'd be like, "Well, what do you want?" He's like, "Whatever he's having." And I was always drinking Crown and Cokes, back then it was just Crown and Cokes. And it was like $3.75 for a Crown and Coke back then. Oh my God. Remember those days? Jesus. This is how old we are. What's that now?
Gas was 99 cents.
It was 69 cents sometimes, man. Depending on where you went, it'd be like, "Hey, the Crown station is 69 cents." But we would go in there and like I said, he was like 19, and they just would serve him because they knew me, because I worked at the Best Buy, and they all knew me from Doyle's and all these other places down.
I used to go to Doyle's. Did you go to Doyle's now?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So we used to go down there. We go in there, and the tavern, which now is on 9th Street, but it used to be right where the Best Buy at South Square is, or not South Square, but New Hope Commons. So anyway, we would sit there. We go in, and John would go with me, and he's like, "Hey, order me a drink." I'm like, "I'm gonna order me a drink, and you just I'll hand you mine when it's almost done or whatever, and you take the last sip off it. When you think that'll work?" Fuck yeah, that'll work. And yeah, it worked. Like John drank for 2.5 years. And I remember when he turned 21, we went into that Ruby Tuesdays, and our friend Kat was there. Kat was this little cute little girl that I went to high school with. And the night that he turned 21, he's like, "It's my birthday." And she's like, "Oh, great. What can I get you? I guess I should card you since it's your birthday." And he's like, "Sure." And she cards him, and she looks at it and goes, I'm just going to hand this back. And then afterwards, she looks at me and she goes, I've been serving that motherfucker for 2 goddamn years. And I'm like, you sure have. And she's like, this is your fucking fault. And I'm like, he's legal now. It's okay.
That's dirty.
Oh, it was so bad, man. But, you know, like, it reminds me back in the day, you know, my buddy Chris, who passed away last year, and Mark was at our, you know, memorial show that we did for him. Talked to Mark this weekend. He's going to come to Fayetteville Comic-Con with me in a couple weeks. But Chris and I would do the same thing at the tavern, you know, where Little Commons. And we'd go in there, and there was a girl by the name of Jenny Hill, and Jenny would serve Chris, and Chris would always tell her that they have the same birthday. Well, she never asked for his ID. He was 17. And then finally, when he turns 21, he's like, Jenny, aren't you going to ask me for my ID? And she's like, no, you've been coming in here for years. And he's like, yeah, but I just turned 21. And she's like, you fucking piece of, you know, like, but anyway, so yeah, when we would start going out to karaoke, we ended up meeting Lee and Tish, two people that
Tish was young, not Tish. Lee was young. Because then right how you're like, oh, I know, I'm 18 too, because they both underage.
Well, it was Fubar that said, yeah, I'm 18 too, or 19, and it was like, don't worry, we'll get her into the bar, and her mom was like, great, let's go. And they came out, they sang karaoke, they had a great time, and before you know it, Tish was sitting there trying to hook Tino up with his future wife the whole time that you were like already seeing Nicole.
No, that's way before Nicole.
All right.
Way before. I didn't. Yeah.
But anyway,
that was back in the 90s. That was like a good 5-6 years.
It was late 90s, though.
Yeah.
It was late 90s.
But it was way before Nicole.
But anyway, Tino ended up getting with Nicole, and we all know what happened there. So congratulations. But I mean, so many good stories back then. So many good stories.
I'm drunk and I'm beautiful.
I mean, the best one was fake. I'm drunk and I'm beautiful.
Tish and we used to, and they
showed it. Yeah.
I'm drunk and I'm beautiful. Standing at the table.
Now Leisha's actually like hot for, you know, a 50-year-old woman. I mean, hey, they're hot 50-year-old women. She's one of them.
How do you know? I didn't see.
You showed me a picture of her.
I've Leisha in years.
You showed me a picture of her. You were like,
oh, she's on Facebook.
You were like, this is what she looks like now. And I'm like, damn, all right. She didn't look like that back then. But anyways, of course, what's that tell you? Anyway, so Tino, I hadn't been writing in a while, you know, and we always talk about us. You got any shows coming up?
Dude, I just said I got a show coming up Saturday in Apex.
Right.
Not Apex Future.
What about after that, though? Anything on the docket?
After that, then that Saturday, I'm in Fuquay. Then the following Saturday,
see how I caught up on that.
I'm in Hickory.
So you're gonna spend a weekend?
Not this Saturday.
Oh, right. You'll come back Sunday, so you're spending most of the weekend. Yeah. So I hadn't written anything in a while. So I told myself I need to sit down and start writing again. You know, like. And it's not because I don't have anything already planned or anything else. I got the first issue of Stonker written. I got the first issue. I got half of an issue of the Witch in the Walls done. I've got another horror idea that I started coming up with. You know, so I mean, but I was like, we're actually starting to see artwork on Immortal. I probably need to finish that series, right? So yesterday I actually sat down and started writing it again, and it's going pretty good. Cool. But what I started doing was, you know, we're going to crowdfund to try to make sure that like the artist and myself actually make money on Immortal. Well, I came up with this idea of, hey, why don't we take all the promotional pieces that I'm drawing, and if he wants to add his own, like create like a Bible / art book for it. So a why this world is the way it is kind of thing, right? and introduce some characters, show what the characters, show who the main characters are, kind of give bios for the main characters, that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm working on right now. And I've already put like 9 pieces of art together for it. We're probably going to make a sketchbook side where it's actually the art from Rob Nico, the artist, some sketches and character designs and stuff that he did for it in there, as well as introduce like why the world is the way that it is, who the characters are, and maybe even some characters that aren't necessarily in the book currently.
Okay.
So that way, if the book continues past the current area of it, we sit there and start showing where it's going. The reception on that, based on like who I've talked to and everything else, has been like, yeah, you need to do that.
Cool.
And interestingly enough, when I originally started writing the series back in like 1997, that was always something I wanted to do, was create like a world building book, so that way you knew what was going on in different parts of the world, and maybe even come up with a map of where like the artifacts that they can find that can actually give them power and stuff like that are, and stuff like that. So I'm working on that now, and that's pretty cool because I'm doing a lot of different artwork myself on it, and it's coming out pretty good.
Nice.
So I'm pretty excited about that. And Junior High Horrors, the anniversary special comes out in comic book stores this week. So got copies of it over there for like when I go to Fayetteville Comic-Con. So yeah, so we got that coming up. Got Fayetteville Comic-Con on the 16th. Terrence is probably going to be doing a podcast from the show for his Villains and Vinyl thing.
Where from the Fayetteville.
Yeah, where it's his hip hop and comics theme stuff. So he's probably doing that, and then I'm supposed to actually sit with the guy who played Darth Vader in Obi-Wan for at least a signing, because I did a special edition print that should be at the show.
Special edition print
of him.
Oh, cool.
So him and I should be sitting together, actually having me sign, him sign, that kind of thing.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So that's what I got going on. Other than that, just work. You ready to get into it?
Yeah, because
I know, but it was fun talking about that other stuff, man. Yeah. It's always fun talking about that other stuff. Tino's going to bring up this program, which I might have actually watched, but it's not NXT 2.0 anymore. You know what? I need to update that graphic, because they've changed it. It's now just NXT again. So we'll do that real quick. Boom! There it is. NXT.
Yes, I think Robert was in the ring first. JD McDonough was in the ring. JD McDonough.
I don't know who that is.
He was in the ring. Well, he's a wrestler on NXT. You need to watch it.
Okay.
He was in the ring bitching that he was the #1 contender for Braun Breaker, and he's pissed off now that Ilya.
Oh, right. But didn't Trent Seven come down to the ring, or was that the week before? Trent Seven came down the week before, and they had a match. Not Trent Seven.
Trent Seven. It was the other dude.
Trent Seven's tag team partner.
Tyler Bate.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
You need to watch the programs. But anyway.
Hey, I was almost right.
JD McDonough.
He's the guy with the mop top.
Anyway, he's in the ring bitching because he wanted to be the #1 contender. Dragunov came down and he was bitching. Braun Breaker goes, "Hey, why don't you just fucking settle it and we'll just have a 3-way for the belt?" And so now it's going to be a 3-way. McDonough.
Right, because McDonough ended up beating Tyler Bate the week before. Mm-hmm. So I did see that. Yeah. And that's when Ilya Dragunov came out and what'd you say his name was?
JD McDonough.
JD McDonough was like, no, you're not allowed to be here or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I did see that. I did not see last week. Sorry.
And then Mandy Rose wrestled Fallon Henley. She's the one that hangs out with Briggs and Jensen.
Yeah.
And that was a better match than I thought it was going to be, because I thought it was going to be a squash. She actually gave Mandy a run for her money, but Mandy beat her.
Duh.
Let's see. Ladder match qualified. Wesley and Tony D'Angelo.
Tony D'Angelo's hurt now, so I'm assuming Wesley won that match.
And he got hurt in that match.
Yeah.
That was a stoppage. The referee stopped the match.
Yeah.
And gave that the lead.
Yeah, D'Angelo's apparently out for 6 to 8 weeks now. So
did they ever say what happened? It looked so it was a freak accident. It looked like he just came down wrong on his knee.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately. And good luck to him on recovery on that.
And then a new comes Sol Roca. She's a new chick that's been doing the vignettes for her on the beach, doing gymnastics and surfing and all that stuff. She came out to wrestle Amari Miller. She beat her. Cameron Grimes against Joe Gacy. Grimes lost to Gacy. I don't know what they're doing with Grimes because they were pushing him to the moon. And here lately, unless they're trying to make him beat him down so he will join Gacy at some point.
I don't know if they're going to do that or if they're planning on Grimes moving up to the main roster.
That could be too.
You know, like he's made it about as far as he's going to go because he's not going to beat Braun Breaker. So I would think that he's about as primed in Triple H's regime as he can be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'd almost say the way you introduce him back into the WWE universe at the main roster level is you bring back Ted DiBiase.
That and now I don't like before I used to worry about shit, I lost it. I used to worry about when NXT stars went up to the main roster because Vince would just fucking shit on them and bury them. Now
you don't have that problem.
I don't have that problem anymore.
So Michael Turner wants to know why did they change the NXT logo again? And Michael, I think it's because the easiest way to show the change to the world that NXT is as close to back to what it was under Triple H before he went out with his heart incident, that they are there now. And while mainly it is going to hold on to the aspect of bringing up young talent to, who's being taught how to come up in the wrestling industry and learn where the camera angles are and learn how to do the moves to not be, harmful. The main fact there is that it's still it's going to go back to closer to what we had 2 years ago when you had your Adam Coles and your Tommaso Ciampas and your Johnny Garganos there, really trying to promote the wrestling aspect of the industry. So it's not NXT 2.0, so it's not the Vince vision. It's not the Bruce Pritchard vision, but it is kind of like an amalgam of the Triple H and Vince vision, because it's going to be a lot of these young talents like your Braun Breakers, like your Tony D'Angelos, coming up from nothing and where you hadn't seen them, but they've been practicing and they've been getting taught by not Bill DeMott, but what's his name?
Smiley?
No. Well, yeah, Norman Smiley's there.
Yeah.
But it's the guy that played Albert. Is the main guy down there now as the teacher.
I can see his face. I can't think of his name.
So you're gonna have a lot more of that, but they wanted to get rid of that 2.0 logo because the 2.0 gave a bad taste to everybody. It got better. Like it was solid by the end. The problem was that everybody remembered the original NXT and what that. I mean, the original NXT was still the same thing. Like when it started, and you had guys like Sami Zayn coming up. Sami Zayn was basically told, drop toe hold, hip toss, takeover, go to finish. And that's what NXT was. And then all of a sudden they had, Sami Zayn talks about this on the Broken Skull sessions, where when Cesaro came down and he had a match against Sami Zayn, it was like Cesaro said, fuck those guys. Let's just have a great match. And when they did, all of a sudden, like, the people backstage were like, Sammy, we didn't know you were that good. Like great job. And before you know it, that's when guys like Neville and everybody else were turning over the business and making NXT into something. And that's when you wanted to start watching it. Like if you watch the old, very first couple episodes of NXT, you're sitting there going, okay, I see what they're trying to do. But meh. And when you look at the first couple episodes of 2.0, probably even the first 2-3 months of 2.0, kind of the same thing. But towards the end of 2.0, you had guys like Braun Breaker, who really were standouts at that point and have really taken to it. And because, I mean, like we watched the Table for Three last week after you said, Rob, you need to watch this. When he was talking about his time with Tommaso Ciampa and his time with Dolph Ziggler and his time working with those guys, like the amount that he learned was just immense.
Yeah.
And now he is the veteran of NXT. So yeah, you've got guys that have still been there, girls that have still been there longer, like Casey Catanzaro and Caden Chance or Caden Carter. It's
So
Katana Chance, who is Casey Catanzaro. But you have them, but then you also have people like Apollo Crews, who are now back in NXT. You've got Mandy Rose, who's back in NXT. And they have so much more experience than some of these other people, so they're bringing people up to them. So Michael, I hope that answers your question, but that's really what they're doing with it. Like they're going back to what they're getting rid of the bad stigma of 2.0, and they're basically saying, because Shawn Michaels was in an interview this week, and they're like Nick Khan, the co-CEO of WWE, has gone on record as saying that like we're only looking for college athletes that have the right look so that we can make them into WWE superstars. And Shawn Michaels is like, we'll find a good WWE superstar anywhere. Like if we find one in Japan, we're gonna bring them in if they want to come in. So there's been a change, and if you've read any of the indie, or any of the dirt sheets, there have been a lot of wrestlers that are not happy in another major company again.
But I don't think they're going to come back. I know Triple H is bringing some people back, but if he does what Tony Khan does, it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just going to.
Well, I'll put it this way. There are Triple H guys. There are Tony Khan guys. There are Vince McMahon guys, right? Like Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns never going to get laid off. Kevin Owens never going to get Kevin Owens. By the way, I read this.
I think of Roman Reigns as a Triple H guy, and I was a Vince guy.
I agree,
but he's not going to get laid off. I see your point. Yeah,
but he's over.
Yeah,
but you look at Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens re-signed with the WWE. We talked about this. Like you said, but I don't ever see him being champion again. And I was like, it doesn't matter. He got a match against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, what's a bigger deal, right? What's a bigger payday? Yeah. Being the champion at No Way Out or getting a match against Stone Cold Steve Austin night one of WrestleMania? We all know it's wrestling Stone Cold Steve Austin for his first match in 19 years, But at the same time, he doesn't have a no-cut clause in his contract. They can cut him if they want to. And the rumor and the talk was always, he'll sign for $3 million. He'll be there 90 days, and then they'll fire him. And might have happened under Vince McMahon, which still would have made him $1 million. Yeah. But now he's going to make the $3 million a year. Like, there's not going to be a time where we don't go, Kevin Owens is going to be in a top program. We're not going to say that. He's not going to be. Fuck that. Like, and don't be surprised if all of a sudden when someone like Chris Jericho's contract comes up, that Chris Jericho makes his final play in WWE. Like, I don't think so, but he's also been the only guy that's shown up on WWE programming twice now when he hasn't been under WWE contract.
No, I'll tell you that because they're on the DX reunion, so Billy Gunn's going to be there.
No, he's not listed right now. It's Sean Waltman, it's Road Dogg, it's Shawn Michaels, and it's Triple H. Billy Gunn's not listed.
I think Billy will come.
I think that Billy, it's in Brooklyn though, so I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if they made a phone call to Tony Khan to say, "Hey, can we use Billy?" But if they do, don't be surprised if Tony Khan says, sure, as long as I can use Cody at some point, or whatever.
You think Cody want to go back?
Why not? I mean, he's going to get paid. But my point is that he would go as a WWE representative for something, or they would put him against an AEW talent at New Japan Wrestle Kingdom. That way, Tony Khan could make the money off of him, but they actually get him, him versus Kenny or something like that at Wrestle Kingdom. I'm just saying, if you're going to have Billy Gunn show up on Monday Night Raw, Tony Khan's going to want something. And I don't know what's going on with our picture, whatever. But interestingly, Tony Khan has AEW talent to talk about the 20th anniversary or 25th anniversary of John Cena. He has let them show for like the Edge biography when they had Christian Cage on there. So I mean, like, he's a smart man, so he knows, hey, if I can get my guys on WWE TV, it's just going to bring more eyes to our product.
Yeah, they don't list him as, and I see what you're saying, but they don't list him as. But WWE smart not listing him as AEW wrestlers. They're like, former or ex or something.
Or it's their name, so it'd be the Big Show, or it'd be Daniel Bryan, or it'd be. But like a guy like Christian, where it says Christian, we all attribute that to Christian Cage. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or Billy Gunn, or whatever. So, but Tony Khan has always allowed those guys to do it because he knows it just brings more eyes. Like, if you just randomly flip through the channel, and this is how I started watching wrestling again back in like 1996. Just randomly flipping through the channels, and I'm watching Roddy Piper get the shit kicked out of him by Hulk Hogan, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And then I would put on Monday Night Raw, and I'd be like, who the fuck is this Stone Cold Steve Austin guy that I've never actually ring master Steve Austin at that point? Who the fuck is this guy? And then a couple weeks later, like, oh, that guy's actually really fucking good. I like watching him. Let me watch this ECW shit. And before you know it, I'm like hooked for another 30 years. 25 at this point. You know what I mean? Yeah. But so Michael, I hope that really gives you some juice on that. The season premiere of Monday Night Raw is obviously next week, and that's going to be when they do the DX reunion and everything.
Season premiere SmackDown's this Friday.
It is, and we'll obviously talk about SmackDown, and we'll talk about like we're getting ready to talk about AEW Dynamite.
Oh, make sure I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead, pull it up.
No, Dragon upside Quinn. I was not sure about anything like big.
Oh, what was the main event?
It was Briggs and Jensen against Gallus, and like a pub brawl.
And Gallus ended up getting indefinitely suspended.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was.
So see, I knew that happened.
What did you say, Dynamite?
Michael says yes and yes.
All right,
Dynamite. We got a.
So they started off with the ROH champion
coronation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Appreciation Society party.
They all showed up wearing purple. Well, it wasn't just purple. It was like purple suede, like
jumpsuits.
Pajamas. Like they were pajamas, dude. Because they weren't jumpsuits. They weren't suits. They were none of them wearing shirts.
Track suits,
but they look like the type of thing that you would see at like the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah.
So
and then they had Luigi Primo.
Well, they did. So he brought his pizzas, and then did you notice that Chris Jericho kept calling Daniel Garcia Danny Boy?
Mm-hmm.
He kept saying, Danny Boy, I got you a gift. Go ahead.
The purple bucket hat. You see the look on his face when he got the hat. I think it was physical. I think he was really mad. Yeah. He's like, you got to be shitting me.
Yeah. And I don't know if you noticed, but on Twitter after the whole thing, Daddy Magic, fat Matt Jackson, he was wearing it, and he says, "Another man's trash is another man's treasure." That guy makes me laugh so hard now that they've actually like given him an open mic.
Yeah.
But he is still garbage, dude.
Danielson comes out.
Yeah, and Danielson comes out and basically says, "You want to sit there and talk trash about Daniel Garcia? Daniel Garcia, how about you make a decision of whether or not you want to be part of the Jericho Appreciation Society or you want to be part of the Blackpool Combat Club?" And while he's saying this, William Regal's on commentary and he's trying to pick up Excalibur again.
It was funny. It was sunshine. He kept flirting with him. I'm like,
he's like, you tasty crumpet, you
what's going on?
And it's like he's they're both married men as far as I know, you know, like, but he's like you mask wearing crumpet, like.
I think he just does it because
he totally does. I you know what I bet it is? I bet Excalibur's probably like homophobic or whatever, and William Regal's just like running with it. But either way, Bryan Danielson pretty much invited Daniel Garcia into the Combat Club, which I gotta tell you, I'm not a big fan of bringing all these young guys into it. Totally get why they do it, because as these other guys get older, they're trying to give the rub without having to lose matches to them. And in actuality, Danielson's lost to both of those guys. Well, he's lost to Garcia. Mm-hmm. He lost a match to Garcia. He didn't lose to Yuta, but he did lose to Garcia. And then, you know, like Danielson goes, "Well, that's really cool that Daddy Magic is sitting there saying he'll fight me right now because backstage they just told me I could have a match with anybody who said that they want to have a fight. Yeah. So let's go ahead and do this." And of course, Daddy Magic loses pretty pitifully. Yes. You know,
Will Yuta comes out to face MJF. What's going on here?
Oh, they can't just have MJF go up against Jon Moxley. They've got to have him go through the Combat Club, right? So you're going to have Wheeler Yuta, who has been on a roll recently, although he did lose to Daniel Garcia and lost the ROH Pure Championship, where you're going to have Wheeler Yuta, who, by the way, all right, you know I like Busted Open. Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and say something that Bully Ray brought up. They were in Philadelphia last week. Wheeler Yuta is from Philadelphia and in Japan. But he's from Philadelphia. And he talked shit about the Phillies, which got the crowd to boo Wheeler Yuta. But by the end of the promo, they were back on his side when he said, "Why don't you go ahead and fight me?" You know, like that. Like he just like snap. Yeah. But the crowd got back behind him. And the reason why I bring this up is because Bully Ray is absolutely right. To lose the crowd and get them back, a skill, shows exactly how skilled Wheeler Yuta could be. And I say could be because here's the thing. When you're going up against MJF and he's singing the Mets song in Philadelphia, he's going to get booed regardless, right? But to have Yuta get booed and then them realize, hey, this is a kid that's just really like trying to pump up the crowd and passionate, like it got everybody involved. Now, the other thing that I noticed, which was the first time I've seen MJF do this, and I think this is now part of the MJF character based on Tony Khan saying, hey, you're going to be a team player, at least till your contract runs out, is that he said, I've gone up and down the coast with Wheeler Yuta, and he's a hell of a wrestler. He has never said anything to put anybody except Cody Rhodes and Triple H over. He has never said it. He never put Jon Moxley over. He might have put Chris Jericho over. But I thought that was to gain Chris Jericho's trust.
That's what that was.
And then turn on him and say, you've never deserved anything that you actually were given. But him putting Wheeler Yuta over is the first time that they've really like actively, smartly thought about this whole situation of if Wheeler Yuta's going to be over, he's going to lose to MJF. So MJF has to put him over to keep himself over here. And the best heels not only get over, but they also put their opponent over, even if they're going over. Which I know is a lot of over talk, but the fact remains. What's up, Chris Marusa? Got you on it, Ruckus.
What's up, T? Thank you.
Well, it's Chris Marusa. It's the bar manager over there. It's got us on the TV. But thanks, guys. And thanks T, because I know T's probably watching if we're on over there. But they said they don't have the volume on, so they're not hearing what we're saying. But well, we don't want to say that just in case they actually turned it up for a second.
I'm teasing.
But overall the idea that MJF's being a team player is kind of weird to me. Because he hadn't been his entire, he's still getting those jabs in and saying, I can't wait to work for Triple H. That guy knows how to run a company and blah, blah, stuff like that.
To me, sometimes it's like I know he's heel, but like you said, sometimes he has face tendencies and then he turns on the heel again. So are they trying to get him to be a tweener? Are they trying to, like you said, he's got to play nice?
Well, so when he came out the night after the pay-per-view, or the weekend, the 3 days after the pay-per-view, that was because they were in Buffalo. And he's from Long Island.
Yes, I know.
So he's going to get the babyface pop anyway. And what he had to do was really get them to buy into that babyface pop and say, I'm back, I'm your hero, and then go, fuck all y'all.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. And he did it impeccably. But he also had Jon Moxley to sit there and play off of that night. And Moxley still got cheered. So, and they knew that he was going to get cheered because, the fact that he came out and said, I'm supposed to be on vacation, but yet here I am as your AEW champion because somebody's got to be, and that wasn't even when he was champion. That was when they started that tournament. But, he's like, they told me I need to be here and I'm a team player. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But anyway, but this week, Wednesday, we're gonna have MJF versus Wheeler Yuta, and I expect Yuta to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't, it's gonna be because Moxley comes out and distracts MJF, which would be the opposite of what you'd expect because you expect him to sit there and get under Moxley's skin. But Moxley's that type of character where he could get under MJF's skin by coming out, having wild things start. Him be wrestling the match, and then all of a sudden the camera just pans completely off them because Moxley's coming down to the, kind of like Sandman back in the day. And what if, as Moxley got back, got down to the ringside level, that's what Yuta rolls him up 1, 2, 3, and before you know it, MJF just lost the match. But he's still holding that
chip,
#1 contender chip. So, which he seems to think he can cash in whenever he wants. But
so too.
But Tony Khan is saying that's not exactly how it works. It requires a conversation with me to sit there and get it to happen. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. So what else happened on Dynamite?
Trying to keep MJF happy. Moxley versus Juice Robinson in a championship eliminator match.
So the only thing that made this match interesting to me is that since Jon Moxley has been part of AEW, Juice Robinson apparently is the only guy that's beaten him twice. Sounds great. Did either of those matches happen on AEW TV?
Nope. Why do I care?
Now, at the same time, the reason why Juice Robinson is so well versed and liked is because he is a 2-time IWGP United States champion, But he's also the only guy that like injured Kevin Owens during his time with NXT because he busted Kevin Owens' nose. I love Juice. Like we saw him when we went to the New Japan show in Durham. I saw him in Ring of Honor before that. I mean, he's a tremendous talent, but he's not going to give world champion Jon Moxley a run for his money. Sorry. Like, this is a different Jon Moxley.
The only thing that interested me about that match was afterwards when Hangman came down and got in his face.
Yeah. And what happened, Tino?
I forgot. Nothing.
Well, he got in his face.
So they're about to fight, but MJF came in, threatening to catch the shit. So MJF broke them up.
Again, this is
and while they're breaking up, because Hangman and Moxley were about to go at it, while security's breaking them up, MJF was in the skybox, and Yuta comes out, starts whooping his ass in the skybox.
That reminded me of like the very first AEW show when Jericho and all them were in the skybox, and all of a sudden like Moxley came out and threw him through the glass table and everything else.
That reminds me back when Vince McMahon was in the skybox and it was on fire, and Stone Cold came in a fireman outfit. Remember? And attacked them.
So many good moments back in the day, but you know. This is a prime example, having Hangman come down and get in Jon Moxley's face. This is a prime example of why Danielson as the world champion would make more sense right now to me. Because they could have had Hangman get in Danielson's face, because Danielson beat Hangman to get to the championship main finals. But Hangman had beaten Danielson before, so they were 1-1-1 because they went to a draw the first time, and then they're 1-1 against each other. So that would have been the perfect, like, really put the championship back on the map moment, while Moxley sits there and faces MJF, not for the title, because MJF hasn't faced Danielson. So it's a brand new feud instead of MJF versus Moxley, which has already happened, because remember, Moxley wasn't allowed to use the finisher against MJF, and they used the whole lawyer thing and all that other bullshit. And, that was the first time MJF actually went for the world championship, because I think Moxley was the champion at that point. So and if he wasn't, Jericho was the champion at that point. But either way, the whole idea is this is just a rehash of the same feud, when you could have had MJF versus Moxley again to build up to MJF versus Danielson for the title, which would have been the AEW guy going after a WWE guy for the championship.
They can still do it in reverse. They can still have.
I mean, it technically still is, but it's just, it would have been a new feud.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been a really good feud to show exactly how good in the ring MJF is, because if you remember correctly, Moxley has already said Danielson's the better wrestler.
What?
You know what I mean? So we could have possibly seen an actual clinic between them. All right. Anything else happen? What was the main event?
No, we're not there yet.
Oh, go ahead.
Soraya came out to talk for the first time.
I'm not the Revolution. I am the Revolution. I am the Revolution.
Is the bitch going to fight? Because what she's setting up is almost sounding like she's going to be kind of a women's general manager over the women's division.
The way that she walked off from the whole moment, yeah, it does kind of feel that way. However, all backstage stuff is pretty much said, and I don't mean to sound like a smart mark or anything else, but all the backstage stuff kind of makes it sound like Saraya has signed a deal that means she will wrestle at some point. It may be a limited time deal, which is why she might be making appearances and talking, but not wrestling. But the amount of money that Tony Khan signed her for makes it sound like it is a to wrestle contract.
And the way this went off, the interaction she had with Britt, I'm thinking that's going to be her first rival.
Well, it could be her first rival. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be her first match.
Yeah.
But it could be her first match. But it if built correctly. I don't know. I don't understand why after like 6 years of this girl not being in the ring, everybody's scared of her.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if this is my house. By the way, she's also like the only person that came over from WWE who's still using the exact same gimmick.
Yeah.
Like, everybody else has changed their gimmick because...
Or Daniel
was
almost doing the yes thing. Almost.
No. He actually said, I won't do that. But I guess Andrade is almost doing the same.
Okay.
But he doesn't even like being there anymore.
Then we had the Interim Women's Championship, the Lumberjack match.
That's Saraya, actually.
Yeah, with Storm and Serena Deeb.
Yep.
Which was a good match.
Sure.
And I thought that for a while there, I'm like, damn, maybe they're going to take it off the Storm because it came close, but Storm won. Backstage, they announced that next week's Dynamite is going to be National Scissoring Day. They're also, so they said they were going to defend their titles on Rampage, and they did. Keith Lee says Swerve isn't here because he's mad at Billy Gunn interfered.
Truth is that Swerve was actually stuck in Florida during the hurricane, or didn't make travel to Philadelphia to be in Philly. But
yeah, then Ricky Starks had a squash match, and then the main event was Jericho versus Bandito, which I fell asleep on. Did you watch it?
No.
Okay. Jericho won, obviously.
Yes, apparently Bandito is a free agent right now, but he is a former Ring of Honor World Champion, which is why he got the match. But rumor is that both AEW and WWE are making a play at Bandito. So.
And Jericho said he's going to destroy the legacy of ROH and will defend ROH's world title against the former champions. He challenged Bryan Danielson to a match on October 12th in Toronto. Then he proceeds to beat up Bobby Cruz, who's the ROH announcer. What's all the people beating up announcers? That when the MJF kicked Tony Schiavone's ass?
So here's the thing about that. Remember back in the day when when Stone Cold became heel Stone Cold?
Mm.
Who came down to sit there and go, Stone Cold, you need to be doing better than that.
Jim Ross.
Right. So when he beat up Jim Ross, what did that do to the crowd?
That turned him.
Yeah. Now, if they wanted to turn Britt Baker babyface, best thing to do would be have Tony Schiavone getting his ass beat and have her come down and make the save.
Against another dude?
Sure. Well, that would really do it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if it was, Tony Schiavone just speaking of Jade Cargill or whatever, Jade Cargill beating him up,
there you go.
Then Britt Baker beating up Jade Cargill would still turn her babyface. But nothing would turn her babyface like beating up MJF. Like, she would be, like, here at that point because of how over he is as a bad guy. All right.
Rampage.
We doing Rampage or we doing SmackDown?
Let's do Rampage first.
Okay. Rampage because it's a continuation.
Yeah.
All right. So what happened?
First match was a triple threat match for the AEW World Titles. Acclaim, Private Party, and Butcher and Blade.
Acclaim wins.
Yes. No, I'm not scissoring.
Come on, man.
Lee Moriarty with Stokely Hathaway and William Morrissey versus Fuego del Sol. Get off me. Willow Nightingale versus Jamie Hayter. John Silver versus Roosh.
Roosh now all elite.
Yeah, so that was the main event.
That was the main event? Are you
Johnny Hungry and Roosh was the main event.
Johnny Hungry?
Whatever the fuck is. Short bastard.
That's a shitty episode of Rampage. Like a shitty episode of Rampage. Like the best match was the first match, which should have been the main event.
Yeah, but they didn't. I didn't. Do I need to pull? You remember SmackDown? You probably remember SmackDown. I'll pull up SmackDown.
You should pull it up.
No, that was the 30th. Okay, keep talking.
You should pull it up, but they're obviously they're hyping the season premiere of SmackDown the following week. We get the Bloodline in the ring. We get Kevin Owens. Oh, we what we get is we get Drew McIntyre in the ring, and Drew McIntyre sitting there like talking about how he is the baby face and everything else, and all of a sudden the Alpha Academy comes out, and then Theory comes out, or Austin Theory. I'm sorry, Austin Theory comes out. So you got all three of them, and then Johnny Gargano runs down to the ring with his music, hops in alongside Drew McIntyre. Apparently, they were the champions of.
You skipped the whole thing, but okay.
Well, that's fine. I didn't start at the beginning. I'm just talking about what I want to talk about while you pull it all up. And then Kevin Owens comes down to the ring. So we've got our main event for later tonight. We've got Drew and what do they call themselves? Panda Express. Drew and Panda Express versus Austin Theory and the Alpha Academy. I want the Panda Express t-shirt, by the way.
So Zayn came out first.
Yes.
And I guess for some reason, he's fighting Ricochet. So what happened?
Oh, no. It was Solo Sikoa fighting Ricochet.
Yeah.
And Solo Sikoa ended up getting the dub.
No, it was Ricochet, Madcap Moss versus
Sammy and yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that was that, yeah.
And by the way, Madcap Moss did a jackhammer during that match.
Yes, he did.
And I'm sitting there going, does Goldberg know that Madcap Moss took his move?
So Sikoa's doing the fucking rock bottom, so
it's called the
spinning solo.
The spinning solo. So he's taking the rock bottom, but then he's turning and doing it. So it's not just picking him up and dropping him. He's actually doing a spin to do it.
That's like the RKO and the Diamond Cutter are different, right?
No. So it is a little bit different, and I'll show it to you later if you want. It's a little bit different, but yeah, it's the same move. Like because when I saw him do it, I was like, wait, Solo Sikoa just did the rock bottom? What the fuck? But no, he actually like spins as he does it, which is why they call it the spinning solo.
Drew versus Austin. Right here, they actually say Drew McIntyre fresh off a nasty bout of food poisoning that kept him off weekend house shows.
Which is true.
Theory in a match. So.
And then that match becomes a trios match, if you will. Like what do they call it? 6-man tag?
Yeah.
6-man tag match. But all right, what else?
Hit Row versus Los Lotharios.
God, that's pointless. Oh, your thing happened.
I was going to say that hadn't happened yet, though.
Your thing happened.
I told you it was going to happen.
You did.
Ronda Rousey versus Natalya.
Ronda Rousey versus Natalya ended up having 5 security officers have to hold Liv Morgan off of Ronda Rousey.
She went fucking.
She was like a Tasmanian fucking devil, dude.
She went batshit
with a bat.
Was it a bat or was it?
She had a bat. but she looked like a Tasmanian fucking devil, man. Like good for Liv. And you know why? It's because Ronda called her a Hooters girl Barbie.
Yeah. So we'll go back to that moment. So the running theme during the show was that the maximum.
Terex just said Ruckus in the building. We're with you, T.
Terex. So the whole show, they had this backstage thing running where Maximum Male models were trying to break the Guinness Book of World Record pose, the Canadian record.
Right, which is held by Edge and Christian.
5-second pose. Oh. Anyway.
So they're just like.
So they keep getting interrupted by different people during the night. So finally towards the end of the night.
Did you see when Kevin Owens came out though? Kevin Owens comes out and he's like, you gotta lift like the hand a little bit higher to really maximize that pose. And then he just keeps walking and he's Sammy.
And he stops and talks to Sammy.
And what's he say?
You need to get a new shirt.
Sammy's wearing the best-selling shirt on WWEshop.com right now.
That you're not gonna get for 3 weeks. But so anyway,
hopefully.
So at the end, they almost made it. The sister Maxine, I guess she's like, "You're always gonna make it." All of a sudden, motherfucking Max Dupree right now came and just fucking sucker punched that some bitch and threw him into. Did you see it?
No.
So they're doing it, and they're almost there, and it's not Mace, it's the other dude, Mansoor. He just comes up and he goes, boom, and hits him so hard he falls into the thing, knocks him down. He goes, yeah. He said, "You're back here trying to get these titles when instead of going out there winning," because they said that they were going for a title earlier. He thought they were going for tag titles. No, we're going to go for the post. So he was doing all night. He came, instead of getting real titles, you know what? I'm done. This isn't for me anymore. And he threw the belt on. He goes, yeah. And he walked off stage.
Yeah, when he said, yeah. I was like, so immediately after watching that, I messaged Tino because Tino said, "It looks like LA Knight's coming back." And you said it like 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, probably. Like, it might happen. Like, you know, but interestingly enough, if he does, it'll be the first time that a full name change has happened that they go back to the original character. Because, like, Gunther.
Yeah.
It's still Gunther.
They're going to change it now, but then it's been all caps now.
Well, but it's still Gunther.
Fucking stupid.
No, Gunther is a great name for it. He's a different guy now, man.
But I thought a name change. Oh, what are they going to change? Oh, it's going to be in all caps now. Suck my balls.
No. What they did was they said, okay, we're going to own this character, which is great. WWE owns it. That's fine. But we're going to make it just as important as it was before, which was Walter was always all caps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'm totally fine with that. Like, the next guy that I think we see get their original name back is probably going to be T-Bar. Donovan Dijakovic?
Oh, I thought you said he's going back to T-Bar. You think he's going back to Donovan? Okay.
No,
I'm down for that. I thought he was going to go to T-Bar.
No, we haven't seen him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know I don't know if he's injured. I don't know what's going. Like,
another thing I called came true last night on Raw. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Well, it's going to come. Looks like it's going to come to fruition. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Then you got Sheamus coming down to the promo while Imperium's in the ring, and they're like, "There's more of us," and you don't. It's something they challenged him. Sheamus goes, "Okay," and starts walking in the ring.
And he brought the shillelagh out.
They came running at him. They said, "Oh," and he started beating the fuck out of the goddamn shillelagh.
Yeah, but then they beat the shit out of him. But what did they accomplish by doing this?
Shane's going to win that belt next week. A couple weeks.
I don't think he is.
I think he's going to win that belt. I'm not saying he's going to hold it long.
But I am going to tell you what they accomplished. They accomplished making Sheamus the second biggest babyface on that show.
Because they beat him down, and they were leaving the first time.
What did he say?
He got up. Is that all you got? And they came back and beat his ass down again. And even when they were leaving again, he was still coming back up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but they made Sheamus into the second biggest babyface on the entire program.
Yeah. Then we had Shotzi versus Bayley. The Tank is back. I was excited to see the Tank.
Well, Shotzi's a babyface again. But notice, Shotzi doesn't have her last name back yet.
No.
And
I think it's because of Ciampa.
I don't think so. Her name was Shotzi Blackheart. But Ciampa's not known as the Blackheart.
We hadn't seen him in a while. He might be coming back. And I think, talking about NXT, that's when he was Triple H's guy. That was his son.
Yeah.
So I think they might be bringing that character back. And I hope they bring back the fucking song. Because that was the baddest fucking song. I love that song. So, Bayley beat Shotzi. Oh, that was the main event. Nope. McIntyre, Kevin Owens, and Johnny Gargano versus Theory and the Alpha Academy.
Austin Theory and the Alpha Academy. Let's get that right. Interestingly enough, back in PWG, Johnny Gargano and Drew McIntyre were actually the champions, the tag team champions. So this was interesting to me to watch, to see how they actually interacted with each other, because obviously Kevin Owens is now probably, would you call him the biggest babyface on Raw? Would Riddle be the biggest babyface on Raw right now? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's not Lashley. It's not Lashley. So,
well, Lashley's close. Like, they want Lashley to be. But Owens is more over. But Owens, I think, and I think this is why they have him on both programs, is because he's so over that he equals ratings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get that great moment where he sees Sammy, and like you said, he goes,
that shit was hilarious.
You need a new shirt. And then he just walks off. And this is right after he sits there and tells them to move the arms in the pose. Sorry. Man, I don't know. All of a sudden I got a cough. Bad air.
I was pulling up Raw results.
But I mean, like, good episode of SmackDown.
Yes.
We get we get a little bit more of the Jay and Sammy thing, because Jay's waiting outside the locker room, and Solo's like, "Hey man, what's up?" He's like, "Go on in." And Sammy's like, "Hey, what is it? Can I?" And he's like, "What do you think you're doing?"
He says, "I know what you're up to. You may fool Jimmy and Solo and Roman, but I know what you're up to."
And then Sammy goes, "You might want to take it up with Roman."
And says, "Now, excuse me," and pushes by him. I'm like, "Oh!"
And he goes, "Well," he says, "Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to go into our dressing room," and then pushes him, and then goes in, and Jay's just like,
"Yeah, that's not gonna be good."
Oh, it's great.
No. It's great. I'm saying when they finally get that fight going, it's not gonna be good because Jay's gonna fuck him up.
Chris Barrett, why are you asking if Ruby Soho is back as Ruby Riott?
Does he watch the programs?
I don't know.
Okay.
But we're gonna talk about Monday,
Judgment Day,
Night Raw.
Ray and AJ. Was that how it starts?
I think it was.
Yeah. Seth and Matt have a confrontation.
Well, let's talk about Judgment Day.
I was reading the thing. The Judgment Day was first. Damian Priest, Finn Balor versus Mysterio and AJ. Now, I think, was it before the match or after the match? Well, we'll talk about the match. I can't remember if it was before or after, where Finn was about to fuck AJ up, but then he stopped himself and said, "I could have done it, but I'm your friend." So that match.
The match was good.
Yes.
Like, Damian Priest looks like a star.
He kicked fucking Ray's soul out. You see when Ray stood up? He just put his foot. He kicked Ray right in the fucking chest.
Do you know what it looked like? Remember in the new Spider-Man movie when Doctor Strange hits Spider-Man and you see Spider-Man leave his body? And he's like, "Wait, what just happened?" Like, that's what that looked like.
Because Ray was running at him. He just stuck his foot up. And his foot was like half of Ray's body anyway. And Ray right in his foot. I'm like, damn, he kicked his soul out.
Yeah, he did. And outside the ring, you've got Rhea and you've got Dominic, and Ray goes outside to talk to Dominic. AJ can't make the tag, and what happens?
Coup de grace. He gets pinned.
And then AJ gets up, sees Rey Mysterio in the ring, and Rey Mysterio's like, I'm sorry. And AJ just finally flattens him. Like, just...
Now, is this going to be you think it's just frustration, or you think it's going to be a heel turn and he might join the Judgment Day?
So I think, okay, I've been thinking about this a little bit, and I think what's going to happen is this. I think
they were both.
I think the reason why AJ...
Him and Finn.
They were.
Yes, so and every time he comes up to him, Finn throws this up, and AJ won't do it.
So I think what's going to happen is they're going to do a 4-on-4 match at Survivor Series, which is next month at this point.
Yeah.
So they'll try to drag the story out until then, and it'll be Judgment Day, which is Finn, Damian Priest, Dominic, and Rhea versus Beth Phoenix, Edge, Ray, and AJ. And, normally during those War Games matches, that's when you have somebody turn on somebody else. So I could totally see AJ turning on him there this would also be the perfect spot to bring back the Good Brothers and really make Judgment Day into a sizable force. Or I don't know, because this weekend at Extreme Rules,
I Quit match.
You have the I Quit match. You also had the moment where Edge sits there and gives that long promo of how like he didn't.
It's harder to get back up now because he's getting older.
But it's also really hard to get back up because his family's watching on, and they don't like hearing the bones creak, and they don't like hearing this. And this is a great promo, by the way. Should have been him sitting in the middle of the ring rather than him backstage, because he gets a better reaction from people when he's actually there saying it, especially when it sounds like I'm retiring, which is what this whole thing sounded like.
Well, I think he came back. He wasn't never going to be a long run. I think this is going to be it.
So the rumor is that he has picked out his final opponent and he plans on ending it at the next WrestleMania. I think he'll probably go.
I thought he wanted to end it in Toronto. He wanted to end it in Canada.
So that's the rumor, but he's going to be around till next year and WrestleMania. I think what's really going to happen, because next year's like WrestleMania 39, I think he's sticks on to WrestleMania 40. You know, because 39's in LA, 40 is going to be in Philadelphia. Which, by the way, I have family in Philadelphia. So I kind of think that's what he's thinking is 2 more years, and he might be saying he's only got another year, but I think they're going to stretch it out. I think the dude's having too much fun. Like, he didn't think, like, he's on borrowed time. He never thought he was going to have these matches. He never thought he was going to have these moments, and he's as good as he was.
Yeah.
And if they don't give him at least one run with the championship before he goes away,
they will.
Well, we don't know, because, I mean, how long is Roman going to hold the belts? But I do think, because he said there's nothing you can physically do to me to get me to say I quit, I think what's going to happen is, you know, the rumor is that they'll have Beth Phoenix in attendance. I don't think they do. I think Dominic and Rhea show up at his house and start knocking on the door and everything, and then all of a sudden, like, they like start like smacking Beth Phoenix around or whatever, you know, at her home, and that's what finally gets, you know, and they finally have her like in a chokehold or something, and that's when Edge finally says I quit. Like, I would think that's more discernible, knowing that they could go after the kids.
And he did mention in this promo that they might have been foreshadowing.
Well, right, but a lot of people think that it just means that they'll be in attendance. But I'd rather see them do the home thing again, like when Seth showed up at his house and started like,
but then
started saying like "fuck your couch," you know, and all that stuff.
Rehashing thing. We just talked about the rehashing.
But it's not really a rehash if you're actually beating Beth Phoenix up, which would set up Dominic and Rhea versus Beth and Edge at Survivor Series, which I'm totally fine with. Because Rhea hasn't wrestled a match in forever at this point.
Well, she was hurt.
Chris Barrett says Paul Heyman is Long Island, not Philly. We can say that all you want, but he is Philly.
Where did that come from?
Well, I don't know. I guess he's just going with this thing. Nah, the Good Brothers are 2 Jabrones. Edge versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 40 is what he says. Chris Barry, you're killing us, man.
The Good Brothers, I think they kind of did what McIntyre did. They left and made themselves, you know what I'm saying? They went by the end to Japan. They're Impact. I think their
contracts are up.
Yeah. What I'm saying is they went and made themselves
bigger.
Yes.
They absolutely. Well, they were bigger before they worked for the WWE. They went out in a match against The Undertaker, which is never a bad thing. They left, because they got fired or, laid off, whatever the, contracts termed, whatever you want to call it, 90-day clauses and all that bullshit. But AJ has always wanted them to be there with him. So I would almost have them come back against AJ and then turn on the Judgment Day at some point so they could rejoin AJ, which is how I would do it, unless you're going to have AJ take over the Judgment Day and kick Finn out. But that's too many leadership changes in too short of a time.
I don't think they'll kick Finn out. I think they would kick Priest out to keep that Bullet Club thing going.
Priest fits that role better, though, whereas Finn actually really does fit the babyface role a lot better. I wish that wasn't the case, because you're right, making it more a Bullet Club thing would be ideal, especially if you keep Dominic in there and you keep Rhea in there, because they actually do seem like the type that would join the Bullet Club. Mm-hmm. Because the Bullet Club, when it first started, was all about Americans, and typically, besides Finn and some of the others, it seemed to be like second generation guys joining that group and going against the Japanese regime. So, it is what it is.
So Lashley and Mustafa Ali, because Mustafa came out, he pretty much made that thing. He tried to sit in the back.
Chris Barrett just said, "Aren't me and Paul E. cousins?" No, Chris Barrett, I'm not Jewish, and no, we're. I mean, we have the same hairline, but that's about it. I don't know where he would even get that idea from.
Bobby Lashley and Mustafa.
Am I wrong?
No.
Which part didn't you like about what I said? The Jewish part?
No, it wasn't much. It ain't you.
The hairline?
It's not.
Oh, Chris Barrett. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I'll give you that one, Tino, because I'm like, why is he staring at me with that look? Okay, go ahead, Bobby Lashley.
So Mufasa.
Mufasa.
Shit again. Damn it.
The circle of life.
Mustafa Ali is like, I'm tired of waiting my turn. I'm tired of sitting here, and he came out with the braids. But I'm tired of waiting my turn, and I want to, he challenged Bobby Lashley, and actually was pretty.
Actually, or Lashley?
No, actually.
Lashley.
It was pretty good. It was a pretty good showing.
Lashley.
He hung with him, but I think where he fucked up is where he slapped the shit out of Lashley.
I think where he fucked up was asking for that match.
Yeah, but he gained Ashley. Yeah, did it again. He gained. I'm tired.
You are really struggling with this word.
I'm tired. He actually gained Lashley's respect after that match.
Folks, he Lashley.
And then Lashley went to go pick him up. And then fucking Seth Rollins came out of nowhere. I don't understand what they're doing with Seth. Is he with Riddle or is he against Lashley?
So I think what this is basically saying, hey, he's going to end his feud with Riddle at Extreme Rules.
Okay.
They're going to be in the fight pit. Riddle's going to win that match because it's Riddle's match.
Yeah.
Right?
And
so
Daniel Cormier.
Well, which we'll talk about in a second, because the way that they did that wasn't the best presentation, and it's all because Cormier couldn't be there live. But the thing is that Seth is so over right now. And this Mustafa Ali match wasn't really going to do anything for Bobby. They gotta get Seth heel heat against Riddle. So how do you do it? You take down another babyface. So having him show up does two things. One, it gives him heat because Bobby's the babyface, right? Gives him heat there. Two, it also makes you think, wow, Seth's already looking past Riddle. And three, we kind of assume Riddle's going to win the match in the fight pit, which means Seth needs to already have something else going on to keep himself. Because right now, dude, Seth has never been this over. He is so over, it's not even funny.
But did they waste a championship Like the U.S. Okay, and this and
No.
this sucks.
No, they don't have to waste it.
That's what I'm saying.
And he doesn't have to win it.
That's what I'm worried about. They're gonna take
But I don't know what they're going to do there. I know that it's interesting, and of course, it sets up. They specifically set up the season premiere of Monday Night Raw next Monday with that match.
Yeah.
Because they've got multiple things going on Monday night because it's 3 hours. So we're going to probably start with the DX reunion, 25 years of DX.
The Bloodline's going to be there.
Or, oh man.
And Roman doesn't go, he's either first or last. He said that. So I'm wondering.
So okay. And are we going through the main event? So let's go through the main event and let's
Okay.
talk about Extreme Rules.
Okay, so then we got Candice versus
Candice
LeRae.
Oh, Candice LeRae
Came out
versus Dakota Kai, and Dakota Kai wins.
Yes.
And the weird thing about that is immediately after she wins, Johnny Gargano's smiling in the back.
I don't know.
Just bad programming.
Yeah. Otis and Johnny Gargano against Gable and Braun Strowman. Now, what I was saying that I called out last week was almost
versus
Braun, who was watching that match backstage.
Almost was almost watching it.
And MVP.
I'm okay with that. Because Braun's new moniker is the monster of all monsters.
Yes.
At the same time, I loved how when Theory's talking to Otis, and Theory's like, hey, where's Chad? And he goes, hold on a second. And he comes back and he's like, almost got him, guys. Almost got him.
Because he got powerbombed. Angelo Dawkins versus Solo Sikoa.
I'm going to tell you right now. So Terrence was sitting right next to me watching some of this match. And I was like, who's Solo Sikoa in the match with? Is that Montez or is it? And he goes, no, that's Angelo. And I'm like, who the hell is that giant that's outside the ring? And it's Montez Ford is like another 4 feet wide again, man. Like dude is just jacked now. Yeah. With a foot boot on.
Yeah.
So he's injured and he's just jacking up.
He's been jacking up. Where you been?
He's not jacking up. He's jacking up. He's just getting jacked.
Alexa Bliss and Io Sky were the main event.
Who won that match? Because I fell asleep.
Io. Now,
how the fuck?
Well, because the what's the faces came out. They interfered. They would. And that's what I was going to talk about now. This whole thing got set up because while Bianca was in the ring with Bayley doing their face-up, their little signature thing, Bayley purposely said she was going to leave the other two Damage Control. I'm going to come to the ring by myself. You guys stay backstage. Well, while they're in the ring, it was a trap because Io and Dakota jumped Bliss and Asuka backstage. And while she was distracted, Bayley came and attacked Bianca. Bianca got the best of her and ran backstage. They had put Asuka's leg in a chair and smashed it, hurt her knee.
She'll be back next
week. And Alexa was standing there, and they kept putting the camera on Alexa, and her facial expressions and her body. I'm like, is this setting up, going back to that dark Alexa? But then she goes out in the ring, and the only reason she lost is because she interference from Damage Control. But I'm like, why are we burying her?
So this is another moment of Triple H people versus everyone else. Now,
was Alexa? No, she wasn't.
No. Well, she was NXT,
but not when Triple H was.
But she was never champion, and immediately against becoming promoted to the main roster, she immediately became champion of like either Raw or SmackDown. Yeah.
So
and she's a 5-time world champion now because of Vince McMahon, because Vince loved her.
Yeah, so it was Triple H's girls were Bayley, Bianca, and probably Io and Dakota.
Well, I mean, and Raquel. You know, like let's not and Asuka.
Well, I'm saying in this Raw, what we're talking about right now.
Oh yeah. So I mean, but Asuka, yeah, you know, like and that's why they're getting that they're still in the major matches. I mean, that's why it's a 3-way versus a 3-way.
Well, we've said before too. The only reason that Alexis even in this is because Becky got hurt. Because Becky I think was supposed to be.
Yeah, but I don't know if that would. So I don't know if they would be trying to go for Becky versus Ronda right now because of that. You know, like
no, I'm saying Becky would have been with.
I don't know if she would have because Asuka and Alexa aren't as hot as they were, but Becky is. So you don't want to cool off Becky by having her lose matches to Io Sky and Dakota Kai. You know that's why I think that Becky would be in it. Like they would, and we talked about it, and I agree with you at the time, but I've been thinking about it since. I think that Becky would be in more of a Stone Cold position, kind of like Kevin Owens, where it doesn't matter who she's facing. It doesn't even matter if she has a feud going. You're just going to make her look good every week that she's there.
I want to see her come back as the man and not Big Time Bex too.
Well, she's going to come back as the man. Because if you remember when Bianca Belair said, you know, it takes the man to be able to do what you did with only one arm, you know? And you sent me the TikTok that showed.
Did you see it?
Oh, God, that was disgusting. It looked like a fucking pretzel. Like, and I like pretzels.
And she kept holding.
Actually, you know what it really looked like? It's a Cinnabon.
And she kept her hand over it, but that one freeze shot, I'm like, it was all like.
Dude,
phone was coming
it looked like a fucking Cinnabon.
God.
And I'm not playing. But again, I'm telling you, like I think that they know what they have with Becky. And Triple H really knows what they have with Becky. What's he got?
With Chris Bear, that last thing he wrote.
He said, we all know that DX is going to show up and HBK going to super kick Roman 1-2. No, because HBK doesn't want to wrestle. But I do think, and I want to talk about this, but I want to really talk about this Becky thing before it, is I think that when it comes to Becky, they know that they could just have her show up 3 times, give the manhandle slam to just random people. Like she could give it to a referee, she could give it to Michael Cole, she could give it to anybody, and it's just going to keep her over. And what they might do is that's
her version of the stunner then.
Like I would say that how you bring her back is you bring her back knowing that she can wrestle, but you tell the crowd that she's not cleared to wrestle, and she starts coming back and she starts manhandle slamming people, and then all of a sudden you've got to have Adam Pearce come out and say, Becky, you're not cleared to wrestle.
I think he's healed too, because him and Ronda got that thing going.
Well, that's fine, but by then, who knows, right?
I think he's in that program with. Okay, go ahead.
My point is that you do it like when Austin was told, Steve, you're not okay to wrestle. You can't do it. And he's like, I don't give a shit. You're going to let me wrestle, and that's the bottom line, and I'm just going to drop you a stunner. Stunner this guy. Stunner this guy. Like, have her manhandle slam everybody, and then all of a sudden finally have somebody like the female champion just get in her face and be like, what are you going to do about it? You're not cleared to wrestle.
And then get fucked up.
And then have her sit there and go, well, it's really funny that you say that, because I took this video last week when I was at my doctor. Becky, you're completely cleared to wrestle, and da-da-da-da. And then all of a sudden she just goes, what now, bitch? And you do it just like that, dude. And I tell you, like, if Shayna Baszler's the world champion at that moment, and you have Becky sit there and go, what do you say about that, bitch? And I you got to use that word lightly, because you can't do the Tay Conti bullshit where everything, bitch, every time. Because if you just do that, it doesn't mean anything. But if you sit there and you just keep dropping people with the manhandle slam, and then all of a sudden you finally get the Shayna Baszler, you're looking at her and she's like, you're not even cleared to wrestle. And she goes, bitch. Like, dude, tell me that wouldn't be like money.
Yeah.
You know it would.
Okay.
So now the bloodline interrupting DX.
I think.
So
I
you
don't
said
know.
you said Roman has to open or Roman has to close, right?
That's what he said.
So Roman opens, and all throughout the episode they keep showing 25 years of DX moments.
Yeah.
And then DX comes out.
Yes.
DX is doing their thing. The only other thing that you could really do here, which may get another group over, I mean, I almost see them sitting there having Chad Gable come out and going, "Shoosh!" And then Shawn Michaels giving him the super kick.
And then thinking about bringing other groups over, isn't it almost time for Mandy, for them to bring Toxic Attraction up? And I say this because what if Bayley wins the title? Now Damage Control has all the belts.
Yeah, but that's heel versus heel. So I almost see them bringing Toxic Attraction up by having JC Jane and Gigi Dolan win the tag team champions from somebody. And then they just start showing up on all the shows. You still hear that they're NXT, but then when they finally drop the belts, they then get promoted to one of the other programs. But
I want to bring them up against Damage Control. I see they're still against Hill.
I don't care.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
I mean, I would rather see those two versus Raquel and Aaliyah, because then it's babyface versus heel. But more than anything, like when we talk about Monday Night Raw next week, and you've got the Bloodline and you've got DX on the same program, and 4 people of DX, this would be the great moment, like you said, have Billy Gunn, but I don't think they're going to get Billy Gunn. But remember, there have been honorary members of DX in the past, including Kane, Swoggle.
You can't do that.
I think Kofi Kingston.
No, you gotta have your roots, not the roots. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to guess.
I'm just so I really do think that you have Chad Gable, Austin Theory, and Otis come out, and Shawn Michaels super kicks everybody. Then you have the Bloodline come back. Like, I could totally see Sami Zayn getting in the face of Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels dropping him with a super kick, or even like X-Pac trying to like do the Bronco Buster, although he doesn't
his asshole again.
He doesn't do that very often anymore because he breaks people's assholes. Michael Turner says, "I think it will happen that some way DX and Bloodline will fight each other Monday." Remember though, Triple H can't fight.
He didn't have to. He can get out.
He literally has a defibrillator in his chest.
He can scoot out the ring. I'm sure he can still swing a sledgehammer. He don't have to take a bump. He could hit somebody. He don't have to take a bump. He could hit a pedigree.
I don't know if he could. Like, I don't know what kind of physical exertion he's allowed to do. Like, you're probably right, but I don't know what he can do. Like, he could probably do this, but I don't know about doing all this. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
But the other 3, like the DO double G sitting there doing the dog slam.
Yeah.
Where he's like, like I could see him doing that, but I would actually see, if they really want to push the Bloodline as the biggest heel faction out there, I'd more along the line see Shawn Michaels getting a super kick in on Sammy, and then the Bloodline taking all of them out.
We can bring back Evolution.
Dude, next week would be the perfect night to bring back Randy Orton.
And Batista, if he would come back.
Batista won't come back. He's done.
For one night, he might.
I don't think so. Not for a random episode of Raw. You bring him back for WrestleMania, sure. What?
Spirit Squad.
Kenny Dykstra?
Oh, God.
Mickey? Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah.
Hey, I do want to go ahead and give the show a shout out to one Bobby Roode, who was in the hospital after a procedure.
Yes, I saw that.
And so hopefully he will get well soon. Makes sense as to why we haven't seen him in a while.
Like he's out 6 to 8 months or 6 something.
I don't know what they haven't explained what it was that he was having done.
I think it was a knee something.
I don't know. All I know is I saw him having surgery and want to make sure that he gets the Potsy and Tino show. Come back well. I'm done. Yeah, I was trying to think if there was anything else. Well, you gotta take the show out. So let's go ahead.
All right,
folks. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for hanging around and chatting with us, and welcome to everybody in the chat. Our people at Ruckus.
Are you passing gas over there?
No, it's just the
Oh.
You can catch this bitch on the Twitter machine.
You can catch what?
This bitch.
What?
This bitch.
Am I gonna have to whip it out and slap you in the face with it?
Mine's bigger, and you know this.
Well, that'll just prove I'm still not a bitch.
Dude, I will pull this out. This room will go dark. Anyway.
Do I ever call you a bitch?
Yes. Not sober. Because you know better. But anyway.
Horrible.
You're not a bitch. You're Paul Heyman's cousin. Anyway.
I'd be okay with that, actually. Be like, Paul, you want to be on the show?
You can catch him on the Twitter machine at PotCheck. You can catch me HootieFan91. You're also on Twitter. Is it Junior High Horrors?
No, not on Twitter. Instagram.
So you're only on Twitter at Rob PotCheck.
Yeah, as PotCheck.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm HootieFan91 on Instagram. He is Rob PotCheck, Rob Potsy PotCheck. He is Junior High Horrors. He is Immortal the Comic. He is what's one more I'm missing?
No, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
And I'm just SC Tino. On the TikTok, he is Rob PotCheck.
Rob Potsy PotCheck.
Rob Potsy PotCheck. Is Immortal on TikTok?
No.
So you just Rob on there?
Just Rob Potsy PotCheck.
All right. And then
YouTube
here each and every week.
Rob PotCheck.
Pots and Pans Network. We want to say thank you to Adam's House Cats for our theme song, which is the wrestling song you can get on iTunes for 99 cents 99. Please give us a thumbs up, like the show, buy our shit, and until next week, Teddy Longson somewhere's over there going, ah. Good night, folks. You're going to face the Undertaker. Well,